Hey, sorry it's been so long since I've done a video. I have been pretty busy. I haven't had time to do anything, but while we're here, let me make up for it, and I'll show you a little secret to growing tomatoes. These are the yellow pear tomatoes that I planted here in this lasagna garden, and I have to say, I have never had yellow pear tomatoes with vines as thick as this. So I'm thinking that they really like being here in this lasagna garden. I think the flowers even look bigger, and the leaves look better, and everything. The plant itself just looks bigger. So, and it's starting to set some fruit. So I'm interested to see how big that gets, and I'm interested to see what that tastes like, because I already like it anyways. I will see what it tastes like coming out of here. But as you can see, this is an indeterminate variety of tomato because it's just growing everywhere and it takes over. I have them in these cages to help a little bit, but you can see that they kind of just outgrow. And you can prune it, but I'm pretty sure if you prune, it will stop growing in that location. But a lot of people have questions about like how to get tomato to fruit, how to get flowers. There's some basic anatomy of tomatoes. You have like the main, vine, and then you have like the branches off of it like this. Then you have the flowering stalk like this that comes off, and it just produces flowers. That's where the fruit will be. Then you also have in between the main vine and the branches that come off of it, you'll have these little, what are called suckers. They come right in the corner right here. And these right here will, continue to grow, and they'll get really, really, really unruly. So the best thing to do is to come in here and just pinch these suckers off. Now what that does is it stops the plant from putting any energy into creating more of this sucker, and it redirects it back into the main area, and it can also cause it to produce more flowers. Now, one cool thing about the suckers is if you have one that's big enough, you can plant it. You can pick it off. See, a lot of times I come in here when they're small, and I just go ahead, if I'm checking on the plants, I will go ahead and so like here's a really, really small one right here, and I just pull it off so it doesn't even have a chance to grow. But if you have a sucker that's big enough, you can actually plant it, and it will take root and create an identical plant to this because it's genetically the same. So you can produce more plants out of it. I've never had luck with that just because I've never let them get big enough. But that's what you can do with them. You can root them, and you'll have the exact same plant as its mother plant. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and actually I'll just pinch it off. Tomato plants are pretty easy to pinch. I take my thumbnail and just pinch off, because I don't want this touching the ground here. That invites in pests, and I don't want that. I try to keep, and I'll just take these and toss them onto to make mulch. But I try to keep the tomato leaves and plant from touching the ground because it's easier for pests to get to it. See, I don't want to take this whole thing off because it's way up here, and oh look, okay, here's an example. This was a sucker, this whole thing here. Now I can plant that, and I might actually do it just to show you. This right here, if it was to take root and grow, that is the exact same genetically as this plant. So it will produce the same plant, the same everything. So I think I'm actually going to try it. Let's come in here. I don't have anything to plant with, so we'll use a wood chip here. I need to water in here. We got a little bit of rain. You can see that white in there. That's some good mold in the soil. And now tomatoes like to be planted deep because they will start to root. If you see tomatoes when you plant them from seed, which these are from seed, they'll come up and then they'll start to have roots all along up here. And a good thing to do to strengthen your plant is to bury those. When you see it starting to try to root further up, just throw some more soil on there. And that's what I had to do with this. I literally took some more potting soil and tossed it onto those so that it would root, or so that those roots would have soil to grow into, and it makes for a stronger plant. And I've actually seen people who, sorry, I'm gonna have to do this here, bear with me, I'll talk and do this at the same time. I've seen people kind of, if they have tomato starts, they'll plant them sideways into the soil or at an angle so that the plant is not going straight down, it's kind of going like this, because it creates roots all up along the bottom of the plant. See here, this is another sucker. I just picked that off. Now, I don't know if that's going to take root, but if it does, we'll have a fourth tomato plant. So that's one good thing about the suckers, but they do take energy away from the plant, creating fruit. Now, another thing that I do is when the plant comes up, when it's still small, it'll start to produce flowers. The first, 1 or 2 times it produces flowers, I pinch those off because I don't want it to start creating flowers yet. I want it to continue to try to grow and make the plant itself bigger and healthier, and then let it start producing flowers when it has a stronger, root system, a stronger vine, more leaves, that sort of thing, so it can support those flowers and that fruit better. Here's a sucker right here. See, anytime you see it coming right in between, just pinch it off. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't want to, I'm just gonna have to take it from all the way up here. I don't want these touching the ground because that invites in pests. This one's thick. There we go. It invites in pests. It invites in things like mold and mildew that will damage the plant. So anytime I see it touching the ground anywhere, like right here, I just pinch it off. A lot of times the base of the plant, like down in here when it's first growing, it will have, as it adds more to the vine and adds more leaves and everything, it will have the original vine, like the original branches and the leaves will just kind of sink down and touch the soil. I pull those off because that is just an invitation for pests or disease, and tomatoes are prone to that because they're not, tomatoes are sort of a finicky plant, but they're ones that you have to take care of. You can't just leave them in the soil unless you're talking about Everglades tomatoes, and then Everglades tomatoes like to sprawl across the soil. But see right here, here's another sucker. Now that one's a good enough size. I could take that and put it in a pot somewhere and create another plant, but I don't really care to. So, but yeah, that's a trick. Oh, here's a really big sucker right here. Oh, kind of pulled that funny, but that whole thing is a sucker. But I don't really need anymore, don't really want anymore. So I'm just pulling them off because I want it to redirect its energy towards making flowers and making fruit. So Like I said, if it gets completely unruly, you can top them. I think this whole thing right here may be from a, well, no, that's not a sucker. But you can top them, and you can basically prune them wherever you want. But just know that it will stunt the growth. I'm pretty sure, like if I were to come along here and just cut the tops off these, it won't start to grow out anywhere. It just will stop. So you can do that. I'm not going to, because I want them to grow. There's a pretty good sized sucker right here. I want them to grow big and produce more fruit. And pulling these off does not harm them. I do it all the time, and they don't even, I don't know if notice is the right word, but they don't even notice. They just keep growing. So it's not going to hurt them to pull the suckers off. It just redirects the energy, just like pruning a tree. You know, it doesn't hurt the tree. Even if you pruned it way down to the ground, if it's a healthy tree, it's going to come right back. I'm just picking off some of these that are touching the ground. But yeah, always come along and look for, now some of them, like this one, I think was a sucker that I didn't see, and I let it go. So you just have to let them, you see, this is the problem with these, is that they get very unruly, and I may have to figure out another way to stake that up. Sorry, I'm filming the ground here, but we'll leave it there for now. But yeah, anytime you have an indeterminate variety of tomato, they're going to be all over the place, because that's what they do. And but yeah, that's one way you can help it to produce more fruit, is to make sure you nip those or pinch those suckers off, and it'll keep it focusing on producing the flowering stalks instead of putting all its energy, because it's basically trying to create another plant. And what you're doing is telling it not to. You're telling it to focus on itself and make more fruit. So, but I am looking forward to what happens with these, because they look really, really healthy. And I'm looking forward to tasting the fruit to see if it tastes better than any of the fruit that I've grown in my actual garden. And over here I've got these pepper plants. These are cherry peppers, and they're slowly growing. I need to water this. But yeah, that is a good thing to do. Now, if you don't have to do that, you can let the plant just completely do whatever it wants and just go insane. I like to do it, as I said, to help it produce more fruit and to keep it a little bit better under control. So that is totally up to you. But if you're having trouble, if you have tomato plants that are getting bigger and they're not really producing any flowers or any fruit, then that is what I would say to do, to come in here and pick off the suckers so that it has more energy to focus on creating flowers and tomatoes and not creating another plant. Because that's what it's doing when it makes suckers. It's creating another plant. So anyways, that's all for today. It's going to be a short one. Just wanted to give you a little tip on that. I don't know how frequently I'll be on here from the holidays. But, oh, wow. This new phone, I can switch sides in the video. I just now noticed that my old phone, I couldn't. I had to pause it and then flip the camera. But this one, I can flip it in the middle of the video. I don't know how much I'll be on in the holidays. You know, we've got a lot going on. Mosquitoes are so bad out here right now. But I will do what I can, and I'll probably do some more work videos, because I've got some work to do in the garden. I need to come along and put some more mulch down in between the rows, and I really nothing's really going on in the garden. I really need to do something with the soil because it's pretty poor. But anyways, that's all for now, and I will see you all on another video. Take care.